Good morning, crew. Happy Friday. This is the last 2 chapters of Pug Pals. I really hope you enjoyed this book. If you have been enjoying it, there's a sequel, which I might also do a longer read aloud if this has been popular. So let me know when I see you during our small group time. We just left off learning a little bit more about the girl who had Mr. Bunny. So we're gonna see how our story ends. It should be really fun. As we read this book today, I want you to use your elephant memory and think about the first chapter all the way back on Monday. How have things changed from the beginning of the book to the end of the book? We have lots of fun reading to do today, and we get to see how Pug Pals ends, so let's get to it. Chapter 9. After a few turns, Sunny and Rosie ended up in front of a small blue house with a large porch and 2 bicycles in the front yard. Leaving the skateboards on the curb, Sunny and Rosie crouched behind a large bush in front of the house. "We're never gonna get him back," Rosie groaned. "Shh," Sunny said. "Look, someone's coming back out." An older boy left the house and got on a larger of 2 bicycles in the yard. The girl followed after him with Mr. Bunny in her arms. Rosie's tail thumped against Sunny in her excitement at seeing Mr. Bunny again. "Where are you going?" the girl asked. "Can I come too? It'll take just a second for me to get my helmet." The older boy shook his head. "I'm gonna hang out with my friends. Steve and Tyler, I can show them Miss Bunny. It's such a weird story how I got her. They'll like it." Rosie bounced as she huffed angrily. "Miss Bunny, Miss Bunny, Miss Bunny is a he." Sunny shushed Rosie again. "No," the older boy said. "You can't tag along. Go away and do whatever you want to do." The little girl stared up at her brother and frowned. "But I don't want to do something by myself. I want to do something with you." The older boy shrugged. "Sorry, no kid sisters." The little girl stood for a long time in the yard as she watched her brother pedal away. "Fine," she said. "I don't need to hang out with you and your friends. I like being by myself." She clenched her fists, and a high-pitched squeak brought her attention down to the stuffy in her hands. "That's right, Miss Bunny. I'm not alone. You're here." The little girl put Mr. Bunny down on the front steps and ran into the house. "Quick!" cried Rosie. "Now's our chance." Before Sunny could stop her, Rosie was racing towards the steps. But just as Rosie reached out to grab Mr. Bunny, the door creaked open. With a squeak, Rosie hopped off the steps and out of sight. The little girl's arms were full of stuffies, clean and carefully mended and patched. "Miss Bunny, I'd like you to meet your new family. Welcome to your favorite forever home." After counting the toys in front of her, the little girl scrambled to her feet and shouted over her shoulder, "Oh, I forgot Mr. McFluffy's. I'll be right back." As the little girl disappeared back inside, Sunny crept forward and pulled Rosie away. "It's time to go home." "But what about Mr. Bunny?" asked Rosie. "We haven't rescued him yet." "I think he's more needed here," said Sunny. "Don't you?" Rosie watched the little girl return and introduce Mr. Bunny to her cluster of toys. When Rosie looked up at Sunny, "But you love Mr. Bunny," Rosie said. "Aren't you sad to leave him here?" "Yes," said Sunny, "but I know he'll be happy here, and he'll be making someone else happy." Rosie stomped her paw and sighed. "I know she's happy, but I wanted to make you happy. I wanted to get him back for you." Sunny took Rosie's paw in her own. "I'm happy I got you back." Rosie stared at their intertwined paws. Then she suddenly jumped up and attacked, and instead of chewing on Sunny's drumstick or slurping on her ear like before, Rosie hugged her sister tightly. Sunny and Rosie trotted to the school to fetch Sunny's backpack, and then they went back home just as the sun was beginning to set. Even though they weren't returning home with Mr. Bunny, They knew Officer Bert would have been proud of the way they carried out their mission. It just turned out it hadn't been a rescue mission after all. Instead, it had been a safety check on Mr. Bunny in his new, forever home. And both Sunny and Rosie were okay with that. Sunny and Rosie sighed as they closed the door behind them. It felt so good to be back home after a long day out. First, they went to the kitchen and had a snack. Then, once their bellies were full and all the crumbs had been licked up, they settled in for a nap. By the time their human arrived, Sunny and Rosie were curled up together. Their human carried a bag with a ribbon and straps. "I have presents," she said. She placed the bag in front of Sunny and Rosie, and the paper wrapping inside the bag crinkled as they reached into it. A new toy for each of the 2 best dogs in the world. Chapter 10. Sunny and Rosie loved their Officer Bert stuffies almost as much as they loved each other. Almost, but not quite. And that's the end of our story. And then just one really fun thing. This is based on real pugs, real pug dogs. And those are the real pugs who the story is based on. And now it's the end. Hi crew, we just finished Pug Pals. It's a really sweet book. I hope you've enjoyed it. I asked you to think about, as we're reading today, what changed from the beginning of the story to the end of the story. One of the strategies you can do when you're starting to read longer books or reading longer books with your family is just look at the first couple pages, what happened, and then look at the last pages. Sometimes our stories go in a circle and you end up at kind of the same place, but the characters are different. Things have changed with the characters, so that can be kind of fun. So if I'm looking at the beginning of the story, we see that Rosie is very happy. She likes being alone. She likes her dog Yoga. She likes taking her things and doing what she likes to do. And she's not very happy of having a sister. And at the end of the story, chapter 10, Sunny and Rosie love their Officer Bert stuffies, which is the same, right? Sunny loved her stuffed animals almost as much as they loved each other. Almost, but not quite. And Sunny and Rosie are really happy to have siblings, to have a little sister and a big sister. So that's how things change from the beginning of the story to the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed this book. Let us know during small groups if you liked this, because then I can read the sequels. Because there's another book and they go on, Rosie and Sunny go on a vacation. It's pretty sweet. All right, bye crew. Happy Friday and have a great weekend.